here with another stream. Hopefully, all of you are having a wonderful Tuesday morning. It's December 20th, 9:15 a.m. Central Standard Time if you're watching us live. Crypto market cap sitting at $813 billion. Pardon me. Bitcoin dominance finally at 40.0% again. Kind of good to see it shooting back up. ETH dominance sitting at 18.3%. Can see that Bitcoin here in the past 24 hours has faced some turbulence. We'll discuss that in a bit. Right now, it's sitting at 16,900. ETH sitting at 1215. BNB just above 250. Dogecoin roughly 7.4 cents. Cardano 25.9 cents. Matic sitting at 80 cents. Polkadot 461. Chainlink 607. Cosmos 895. Um, Dow Jones right now is rallying just a bit, roughly about rallying off of about a 200-point swing here in the past few hours since the market opened. Again, will this continue? Well, taking a look at the Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin here in the past hour has rallied after faking out um, breaking as low as roughly 16,700. Now, that is not as low as Bitcoin has gone here in the past 24 hours. We did see Bitcoin hop below $16,250 very briefly here in the past 24 hours since our last stream. But the bulls picked up the ball and have sent Bitcoin towards 17K since then. Again, we saw some consolidation above 16,700 and roughly 16,900. Now we're building off of that support. Will the bulls continue forward? Time will tell. Looking at the daily chart, we are below, I believe, the what indicator is this? It's off of the, I believe it's the 21 week moving average. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's a good sign. Again, once we break above this line is when we have to start worrying. Personally, I can kind of see Bitcoin here on the daily doing something like this. Maybe we retest this line of support, but I think ultimately get rejected. And going into the new year, I think we do see some downside selling pressure, but that's just my anticipation about what's going to happen. Uh, DXY dollar seems to want to put in a new low sometime soon. Um, I do think right around here, 103, 102 is where we will bounce. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm completely wrong and maybe we go down to 101 or 100 and then we bounce. But yeah, when this thing does rip to the upside, we can expect stocks and crypto to take a beating. Headed over to Twitter for some news, just to put things in perspective. A value of $1,000 invested a year ago, you would have roughly $470 worth of BNB, Dogecoin roughly $440, Bitcoin $360, ETH 310, Cardano 200, Solana 70, and if you had that 1,000 invested in a Terra, well, you'd be sitting at zero right now. So pretty wild how things change over the course of a year in the markets and such. Over 570,000 Bitcoin worth $9.6 billion have been taken off exchanges this year. Again, more and more people are seeing the reality for what it is. You need to get in the habit of taking your crypto off exchanges. Remember, not your keys, not your crypto. Common misconception is thinking Bitcoin is the first iteration of a new tech, when in truth, Bitcoin is the final iteration of a dream that took decades to achieve and includes the hard work of incredibly smart people from all around the world. Bear market ended today. Would you be happy with your Bitcoin stack? I personally would be furious because I'm hoping to continue to be able to stack a Bitcoin at these discounted prices for at least the next 6 to 12 months. I would ideally like it to be a whole year and a half, maybe 2 years process. Because just now I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm paying off some more debts, and I'll have a little bit more money to throw at Bitcoin and crypto as a whole. But I would be furious if bear market ended today, to be honest, because I see I'm just getting, again, like I said, I'm just getting into that time where I have more disposable income to invest. Bitcoin is like an alien technology that has landed on Earth. It's going to revolutionize how we think about and use money. It'll transform the energy system, bring about a global spiritual awakening. Who knows what else? Let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think Bitcoin is going to do here in the next 10 to 20 years. Pro tip: if your Bitcoin is wrapped, then it's not your Bitcoin. So make sure your Bitcoin's unwrapped. Thank you for all 30,000 followers. Stick with Bitcoin, friends. We're going to build our way out of Vietnam. I'm going to try and find a way to integrate that into a phrase of some sort. I like this phrase, though. We're going to build our way out of Vietnam. If anyone ever tells you Bitcoin uses slash wastes too much energy, have them watch this. This is basically just um, a montage of clips about like how they film Mission Impossible and stuff. They use a bunch of helicopters and such. Um, and this is honestly, this is kind of like a crappy clip to play because while they do use a lot of energy to produce the scene and such, I think they could have used like Transformers or something. They could have used a much better film as an example of um, way too much energy, way too much electricity being put into creating the film. Again, narrative that Bitcoin uses too much energy is a load of horse shit, but that's just me. For the love of humanity, Elon Musk, please consider Michael Saylor for the CEO position at Twitter. He's qualified. He can make Twitter profitable. He also avoids politics. He's passionate about Twitter and shares your love for humanity. I would love to see Michael Saylor take over Twitter because the amount of Bitcoin maximalists this guy would make would be crazy. I mean, short term, it would, I would real okay. Short term, I would love it. Long term, I probably wouldn't like it because he would orange pill so many people. I'm not opposed to people getting orange pilled, but the reality is I personally want more and more time to stack an asset like Bitcoin. So maybe him becoming the CEO isn't the best thing for you or me, those of us who want to stack Bitcoin.
In my opinion, no matter your political leanings, I don't care about politics. Bitcoin is a vote against taking as a wealth acquisition strategy because it cannot be inflated, it cannot be stolen, and it's a vote for making as a wealth acquisition strategy. It's entrepreneurial money. It's what empowers entrepreneurs. You can put the fruits of your labor in deep freeze. You can put it in a place that no one can violate. That is to say, Bitcoin is a vote against statism and a vote for entrepreneurship. So if you believe in honesty, if you believe in hard work, if you believe in thou shalt not steal, then you believe in Bitcoin, whether you know it or not. It is the most American technology that has ever existed, even though it was created by a guy named Satoshi Nakamoto. Clearly, I'm way down this Bitcoin rabbit hole. Some of you may think I'm crazy, but I think Bitcoin's more American than the U.S. Constitution. Private property rights, rule of law, honest money. That's what our founding fathers wanted. That's what Bitcoin is. It's not scribbles on a document. It's principles implemented permanently in code, wrapped in incentives that make us all want to use it. And my
Love it. What do you guys think of that clip? Like it, dislike it? Visa exploring options to allow automatic payments via Ethereum wallets without requiring manual transactions signing. Visa just published a blog post about Ethereum and how blockchains can help with payments. Is this Visa endorsing Ethereum some way or form? I'm not entirely sure, but I kind of read it as they are endorsing Ethereum, which in my opinion is rather bullish. But again, with the macro climate that we are in the markets and such, I don't think it's too bullish at this exact moment. Long term, I find it rather bullish. Dogecoin now has a larger market cap than Coinbase. Pretty crazy to think about. A meme coin, the OG meme coin, having a bigger market cap than Coinbase, one of the biggest crypto exchanges here in the United States, if not the biggest. Recur, if any of you guys have a Recur pass and you're a pass holder, well, you'll receive a reward on Thursday to commemorate a year of support for the Recur Pass 1 year anniversary. To receive the reward, pardon me, passes must be held in an external wallet or in a Recur wallet linked to an external wallet by the end of today at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm gonna certainly try and set this up on with some of my free time later today because I would like to receive some reward. I believe for NFTU, I was awarded a NFT of a OU Sooners football helmet, and I believe I had a football also airdrop to me for Iowa. I don't remember which university exactly, but kind of cool. Most Google searches how to mine Bitcoin. Number one comes with is Nigeria, two is Ghana, three is Kenya, followed by Tobago, uh, South Africa, Slovakia, Canada, Australia, Singapore, Lithuania. Africa leads the world. Speaking of Africa leading the world, Nigerian government just pulled a 180 in a very short amount of time. Nigerian government is reportedly planning on passing a bill that would legalize cryptocurrency in the country. News comes shortly after the Nigerian government announced limits on cash withdrawals to push their CBDC. I recall the cash withdrawal was something like $250 per week, which is pretty crazy. The e-Naira was introduced late last year, but has only been adopted by around 0.5% of the Nigerian citizens. The Nigerian government has banned cryptocurrency in early 2021, presumably to prepare for the rollout of its CBDC, but as we're discussing right now, they're reportedly planning on passing a bill to legalize crypto in Nigeria. So that's pretty cool, pretty interesting. Mining Bitcoin in Russia is now legal. Again, more and more countries adopting Bitcoin, making their moves in the bear market while the asset's cheap and affordable, or more affordable than it was, say, a year ago. um, Bank of Russia will test international settlements in cryptocurrency with companies. Again, Russia looks to be positioning itself to endorse Bitcoin. China's, I'm not even going to pronounce that province, to build 28.7 billion metaverse industry by 2025. 28.7 million billion, pardon me, into the metaverse industry in the next 2 to 3 years. Pretty crazy, pretty bullish for metaverse plays like Sandbox, Mana, etc. India calls for significant international collaboration on cryptocurrency regulation. Does that mean um, they're going to have maybe call a meeting between other BRICS nations? If you're unaware of what BRICS stands for, includes countries like Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Korea, or not South Korea, South Africa, pardon me. Could they be calling a meeting between the BRICS nations to come up with international regulation when it comes to crypto? Possibly. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's brother resigns from roles as Binance advisor. To be honest, I didn't even know he was a Binance advisor. Probably is because his brother's, politically tied and stuff to the UK. So kind of makes sense. But is there something more to see there? More than meets the eye? Binance tweeted out "Be there or be square," I guess. And then Magoo PhD trolls and says the narrator says the assets weren't there. Digital Asset News commenting on Tiffany's Fong about how she believes Binance will place a bid on Celsius Networks assets. Digital Asset News, or Rob, said, "I bet it's going to be for a massive discount, honestly. I'd rather take an 80% haircut than let these losers try to reorganize into another business. Don't give me some nonsense about Bitcoin mining or reorganization. Wouldn't trust you guys to reorganize my future. Hashtag trust me, bro." Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Personally, I would much rather just get some of my funds back rather than nothing, and just see this company reorganize into another business, or claim they're going to mine Bitcoin. If they're going to mine Bitcoin, they better be giving us all some of that yield into a external wallet or cold storage wallet. Binance, as we discussed yesterday, um, seems to be going through with their acquisition slash buyout of Voyager, something over $1.02 billion. That's what they purchased it for. Number of people are upset about this, about the potential deal for Voyager. Is rather astonishing to me. I understand Voyager wanting to continue on, but it's not going to happen. From reading through the court file today, it looks like Voyager has better protections built into the deal. I really hope the deal goes through. This again, even if I only get like 25 to 50% of my assets back in USD or in crypto, I would be more than happy, because um, I could use those funds right about now, as I'm sure many other people could use them as well. BlockFi asked the U.S. bankruptcy court to allow users to withdraw their Bitcoin and crypto, according to Cointelegraph. Um, I believe this was only in pertaining to their wallet. So if you have any crypto stored in the Earn program on BlockFi, then potentially you won't get those funds back. But they're asking for people who have their funds in the BlockFi wallet to be able to withdraw. So I just wanted to throw that out there. This isn't a let's allow everyone take out their funds, only if you have stuff in the BlockFi wallet. SBF to be extradited to the United States. This news came out just yesterday morning, right around the time that we were streaming. So pretty wild stuff. I'm sure he's looking forward to that. Kevin O'Leary now blames Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve for the FTX collapse. He made such a claim at the Senate hearing. It's pretty laughable that Kevin O'Leary would make such a statement like that. It's like, no, Sam Bankman-Fried and his buddies were just completely incompetent. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. Fraudulent crypto scandals get so much media coverage as a ploy to create more fear in the market space, in the crypto space, scare people into avoiding blockchain technology. That's true. Um, you know, they're basically trying to FUD everyone out of the market, so that way them and their buddies, along with some institutions, can get in for stupid cheap. So don't let them steal your life changing wealth. Continue to have conviction in crypto and Bitcoin. It goes without saying that your seed phrase should never be kept on you. It should be stored in a secure location, only ever be used to recover your wallet. This video of cops in Nevada searching a suspect and finding a seed phrase is pretty wild. Imagine having your seed phrase become a part of public record due to it being captured by an officer's body camera. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Uh, Again, like Guy says, don't keep your seed phrase on you. Debt runs the world. This is a pretty interesting clip. I'll play it for you guys.
America's never going to pay its debts. It doesn't have to. Its debts are in its own currency. We can simply print it. The African
That's what we've been
debt is
doing.
not in its currency. The African debt is in U.S. dollars. Africa has to earn the U.S. dollars, and the only way it can earn the U.S. dollars is not to be assassinated for growing its own food and becoming independent and doing something that the United States does not like. The principle underlying the foundation of the World Bank is that no country should grow its own food. Africa and the third world should only grow export crops. To export, in order to have an oversupply of cocoa and other tropical raw materials, to keep down the price, they must buy their grain from the United States or Europe, so that if they do
How
something
ludicrous is
we don't
that?
like, we can do what America tried to do to China in the 60s. We can sanction them. We can say, we're going to starve you. We're going to not export any grain to you. So owing their foreign debt in dollars means that they have to somehow sell something that the United States wants, not what they want. I think the most evil organizations in the world today are the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. America's
That's disgusting, and that's why more and more countries are going to move away from the U.S. dollar because it's like, why do I want to go down with this sinking ship that's not backed by anything? Meanwhile, again, as we discussed multiple times, Chinese yuan, along with the Russian ruble and other currencies, are starting to be backed heavily by gold, which is substance. Since 2020, the U.S. federal government has shut down the economy, injected trillions of dollars of stimulus. They've waged a war on reliable energy infrastructure. They've censored a shit ton of people. They've been forcing medical procedures on people. It's proven to be a proxy infrastructure for unaccountable intelligence apparatus. You are not free. Just a reminder. Bank of Japan's Governor Kuroda says cannot be. He says he cannot be optimistic amid uncertainties from the Ukraine war, rate hikes in Western economies, China's shift of zero COVID policy. Yeah, we're killing the economy, and the Federal Reserve thinks it's not enough. We need to kill the economy more. We need to see stock market. We need to see assets bleed like crazy, essentially. So, Bank of England broken, Bank of Japan broken. Who's next? We'll see. Elizabeth Warren is the last person I would ever want anywhere close to Tesla. Elizabeth Warren supposedly wrote a letter to Tesla's board asking whether investors have been harmed by the billionaire tech mogul's time running social media network, per New York Times. Elon Musk says the United States has definitely been harmed by having her as a senator, lol, and I wholeheartedly agree. She acts like she's for the people, but she's anything but for the people. She she's a phony. You know, she claims to want to go after the big banks, correct their evil practices and ways of doing things, but meanwhile she's being lobbied by banks and such. She's doing their dirty work. So F you, Elizabeth Warren. Pardon my French. Harvard poll says 75% think less than a million illegals entered last year. When told the correct number, 2.75 million, 67% claim they want stricter laws after finding out this information. This is pretty interesting by many people's standards today. They would make the claim that 67% of people who want stricter laws regarding the flow of people across the border. Well, a lot of hardcore NPCs on the left would claim that these people are xenophobic, that they're racist and such. And then Elon Musk decided to comment, said, "Why is this never in the news?" Anomaly says the people running the news companies in America hate America and Americans, and it's true. We're gonna discuss that here in a second, very, very briefly. How to become this way it's a really great question. The media has no problem obsessively selling pharmacy pills, obesity, fast food, toxic culture, racial division, and lopsided phony agendas disguided as activism. Why do they hate us so much? Greed, money, some sort of deep-seated cultural hatred. And again, toxic culture is exactly right with stuff like this. Wall Street Journal editorial: call yourself an American, question mark, please don't. It's on Stanford's new index of forbidden words. Like, what is going on, you guys? Clown world. Migrants are now getting hit by cars as they cross the roads near the border over in El Paso, Texas. As a result, El Paso, Texas has declared a state of emergency as thousands of migrants cross the border, with reports of migrants getting hit by passing cars as they flee across America or flee across from Mexico. So, pretty crazy stuff. Interesting that Joe Biden doesn't see this as a big issue. Why is that? Is there more to that? I'm not entirely sure, but it's kind of suspicious that They're more focused on January 6th, which was a quote unquote attack on the Capitol back in 2021. Here we have Jean Pierre, press secretary, talking like a clown.
I'll first say, and you've heard me say this many times, and the president as well, we've been very clear from the beginning that what we saw on January 6th was the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And the president has been very clear. Our democracy continues and remains under threat, and we all have a part to protect it. The committee has been doing important bipartisan work to get to the truth of what happened on that very day, so we can make sure that that doesn't happen again. So
Again, if we're gonna call things out, why are you guys still silent about the destruction of cities, the looting, the burning of cities across America for the summer of 2020? Like, I don't get how you focus on the quote unquote insurrection at the Capitol, which we know FBI agents were involved in. That they caused the big ruckus, and there's really footage of Capitol Police letting protesters into the building. Meanwhile, billions of dollars of damage gets done across the country, and we don't call that shit out. I hate the hypocrisy. It's like, if you're gonna criminalize people who stormed the Capitol, well, you got to criminalize all the people who looted and burned a bunch of shit over the course of the summer of 2020. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna, you can't pick and choose who's a criminal and who's not. The street runs both ways, in my opinion. Just a reminder, January 6th wasn't an insurrection. What the Twitter files shows is there was an insurrection. Big difference. We literally saw textbook fascism, you guys. We saw big tech, which is corporations working with the state to suppress a certain narrative, certain topics, certain ideas. Whether it was the Hunter Biden story and such, misinformation, quote unquote misinformation regarding, certain medical procedures and such. What they did was fascism, and that's an actual real insurrection. What the people did at the Capitol on January 6th, it was I'm not going to excuse it. It was unacceptable, but to claim there was a full-on insurrection, the way they're trying to paint the narrative is disgusting, and it's dishonest. Remember, the FBI used your tax dollars to orchestrate a disinformation campaign based on lies so that Joe Biden could get elected. Remember, this comes from the Twitter files. You should go read it if you haven't yet. In the end, the FBI's influence campaign aimed at executives and news media, Twitter, and other social media companies worked. They censored and discredited the Hunter Biden laptop story. No collusion there. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along. Disgusting. They literally controlled the narrative surrounding the election and such. Defund the FBI, CIA, and NSA. Wholeheartedly agree. Jimmy Song, he's a big Bitcoin advocate slash quote unquote expert. Germany saying they won't be buying Russian oil at all in 2023, while shooting themselves in the foot again. American taxpayers have paid about $60 billion to get more Ukrainians killed, 20% of their country taken, i.e., the Ukrainians' country, that is. Their infrastructure destroyed, and make our weapons manufacturers richer, when our government could have just insisted the signed peace agreement was honored for free. Pretty crazy stuff. I don't know how this flies over so many people's heads. Pretty crazy stuff. And the reality is, if you didn't want to believe us when we told you Azov Battalion were not a bunch of Nazis, all you had to do was ask our Congress before February 24th of this year, because they called them neo Nazis for years, while voting on whether to fund them. And here we have, before the Ukrainian crisis, The Guardian claims, "Welcome to Ukraine, the most corrupt nation on earth." after the Ukraine crisis, the invasion, from Russia over into Ukraine. The fight for Ukraine is a fight for liberal ideals. Reuters claiming Ukraine's neo-Nazi problem. Now they're saying for foreign fighters, Ukraine offers purpose, camaraderie, and a cause. Vox, before the invasion, a Ukrainian comedian turned president, is embroiled in Trump's impeachment mess. New Europe claiming Ukrainian president's rule becomes increasingly corrupt, authoritarian. CNN, after the invasion, says Ukrainians are giving two lessons in democracy that Americans have forgotten. Washington Post making a puff piece as usual, saying Zelensky, the TV president, turned war hero. It's all propaganda, guys. Don't buy it. They were telling you somewhat of the truth beforehand, and now they're just feeding you bullshit. Don't fall for it. Here we have New York Times defending swastika-shaped crossword puzzle published on the eve of Hanukkah. Like, what is going on? Quite the clown world we live in. And, we like to critique Russia and how they had no reason to invade Ukraine. Russia should just, respect Ukraine's sovereignty and such. Meanwhile, Israel is bombing Syria's capital city of Damascus right now. Once again, they're doing things that if Russia did them or China did them, we would be up in arms, super pissed off. How, oh, you should be respecting their sovereignty, but when Israel or we do it, it's completely okay. It's total hypocrisy, you guys. Zuby Music says it's bizarre how acknowledging biological reality, being skeptical of big pharma, and supporting freedom of speech have all become right wing positions, and that's a great point. Like, when did this become when did these become right wing positions? I recall prior to COVID, left wingers were pretty adamant about being skeptical of big pharma, and they were calling out how we shouldn't put so much faith in um, you know, big pharma and such. We shouldn't just take all these scientists' word for it that there's, these medical procedures, whatever they may be, pertaining to different viruses and diseases. We shouldn't trust them. We shouldn't fatten their pockets. Meanwhile, right when COVID came around, they did a full 180. And you know what? Liberals used to be, so, quote unquote, supporting freedom of speech, but they've gone against freedom of speech here in the past decade or so. They've abandoned many of their ideals, and again, liberal only in the name. We were watching Nazism unfold during the height of the COVID pandemic. The mask lockdowns mandates gave government the power to control people in a way we haven't seen. Never again. I'll leave you guys with this clip. It was kind of interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. If you did, please do us a favor. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe, hit notification bell to be notified when we go live next. Please share the video if you found it informative, educational, entertaining, any of the above. Please do so. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section about this clip that I'm about to play after it's over. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, take care and invest wisely.
We're in this lockdown mania for 2 years, right? I think for 1 year, we were all kind of still Americans. Like, oh, we're in this together, and this is really da-da-da. And then, really, Florida diverged. Florida didn't cause the mandatory loss of your civil liberties. It didn't kind of force the shots. It didn't force you to wear the mask, right? It was county by county, school by school, fight with fight, right? But in California, it was complete lockstep. And it was really, I was watching Nazism unfold, and I'm not using that as hyperbole. The Nazis did not come out the first year and start shooting people, right? First, they passed laws that these people were subhuman. You all know this. So I was living in Beverly Hills, and I'll never forget this. One day, we walk into a very shishi, fancy, upscale grocery store, and I'm not wearing the mask. But when I went to pay, I put the mask on, just, because I just want to get through, right? So the guard is holding up a phone and says, I saw that you don't have a mask on. I'm confused. I'm like, well, let me just pay for my food. I've got my mask on. No. He calls me a very derogatory name. And it was almost coming to blows, but I'd already been arrested by January 6th, and I didn't want to go there. because I just wanted to dump my food. But I walked out and I said, if you had said to this low-level security guard, regular Joe, ordinary job, 2 years ago, is there any circumstance under which you would start screaming at one of your Beverly Hills customers that she was psychotic? Could you have ever imagined it? I'm sorry, it was watching Nazism unfold. Another year.
Also, could you ever imagine a rental cop yelling at a practicing physician about medical guidance?
Yeah.
Like the rental cop knows better than you. Like, it's like so crazy. It's hard to believe.
But that nastiness, that aggressiveness that we saw like on flight attendants, for example, the empowering of people controlling other people. At the end of the day, people like to control other people, right? Wives like to control husbands, husbands like to control wives, parents like to control kids. People like to control other people. So the Bill of Rights enshrines that you can't control another person. That's basically what it is. It's like you stay over here and I stay over here, and the government's job is to like make sure you don't bother him and he doesn't bother you. That's really what it is. That all went out the window with the lockdowns. All of a sudden, you had random people becoming citizen cops, preventing you from living your life doing ordinary things. That went on for such a long time in California that I actually think Californians are not the same Americans as 5 years ago.